Hello there, welcome to science class. In today's class, we shall be discussing percentage of numbers, understanding percentage of numbers, and we're going to be using 5 scenarios. So please ensure you watch to the end. So, like I said, we're going to be using 5 scenarios. Scenario number 1, we have find A, 30% of 500. B, 30.7% of 120. At this time, I decided to use a decimal point at this time in order to refresh our mind on our class on division of numbers and conversion to decimal, and then also to bring a scenario that can bring a real life situation such that we can have to calculate the percentage of a number from a decimal point of view. So that is why I've decided to use this example. So the second example is, what percentage of 500 is 150? Then what percentage of 120 is 36.8? These two scenarios in 1 and 2 usually confuse students. So I want you to watch very carefully while I am solving the solution. I as well was confused when I was in college. I was confused when you're talking about percentage of this, of a number, and then what percentage of number is another number. So I want you to watch very carefully when I am solving the question. So the next scenario is, I bought a car for $1,500 and sold at $1,800. What percentage did I gain? Sometimes you might be asked to, okay, you sold something, you made a business, you made a deal and made some profit, but what is the percentage of profit made? Then you can be able to use this knowledge to find that out. The next scenario is number 4. A, my boss told me to sell a car and get a 30% profit. How much will I sell the car if the car costs $3,000? This is another example. Example 4 here. There's another example. So the last one is, what percentage of 50 is 75? What percentage of 50 is 75? I like you to look at this question critically. I like you to see that 50 is actually less than 75. 50 is actually less than 75. So I want you to pay a very close attention to this example when I am solving the questions. So let us go to the solution to the questions. Okay, the first example is the 30% of 500. Whenever you see a number with a percentage sign behind it, you know that you are putting that number all over 100. All over 100. So 30% of 500 will just be 30 divided by 100, then times the number of what you are asked to do, which is times 500 here. So from the knowledge of our division class, these two zeros can actually cancel out the two zeros at the back of 500, and so you have 30 that is remaining here, 30 that is remaining here, times 5, the 5 that is remaining here, and the answer gives us 150. Next example here is 30.7% of 120. 30.7% of 120. So 30.7, you can actually break it down to 30.0 plus 0.07. So if you want to do this, you can convert that 0.7 behind it to fraction, and getting 0.7 to fraction will give you 7 over 10. So if you now make that 30 plus 7 over 10, because 30 plus 0.7 is 30.7. So by the time you convert it to fraction, it will turn to 37 over 10. And by the time you change it to improper fraction, it gives you 307 all over 10. If you don't understand how we got this, then you need to go and watch my lecture on type of fractions, understanding fractions. So now we have 307 over 10. Now we can now divide. So I told you, wherever you have a number in percentage, that number is divided by 100. That's why we have 307 divided by 10 divided by 100. This is 307 divided by 10 that we got. So this 307 here is this. Then divided by 100 is this. Then times 120. All right? Okay. From the knowledge of division of fraction in our last class, we know that when you have a number, when you are dividing two fractions, you simply reciprocate one of the fraction and multiply. So 307 over 10 divided by 100 over 1 is the same thing as 307 over 10 times 1 over 100. If you don't understand how I did this, then you need to watch my lecture on division of fractions. So now we have divided, and then we can now multiply all through. So this is 307 times 1 gives us 307. Then 10 times 100 gives us 1000. So now we have already gotten 30.7 over 100 will give us 307 over 1000. 30.7 we got the other time times 1 over 100 will give us 307 over 1000. A smart way of doing this can just be that 30.7, just multiply it by 10. This 30.7, just multiply it by 10. It will give you 307 directly. Then that 100 that is below, that you're supposed to multiply it with, as in this, as the 100, just multiply that 100 by 10. It will give you 1000. So instead of going all through all this process, when you have 30.7 or a number point something and you want to do it over 100, you can just multiply by a number, the factor of 10 that will clear off the decimal point. In this case, if you just multiply 30.7 by 10, it will give you 307 directly, and then that 100 by 10, it will give you 1000. So you just get your answer like this. So 307 divided by 1000 times 120 will give you, this 0 cancels out, it removes 1 0 from 120, remove 1 0 from 1000. So it gives you 307 times 12 all over 100, and it gives you 36.84. So let's go to the next example. Example 2 says, what percentage of 500 is 150? It's just the reverse of what we got in example 1. What percentage of 500 is 150? So in this case, you just say 150 over 500. 150 over 500 over 500 times 100. What percent? When you see what percent, you know that you are multiplying by 100. You understand? But if it was a number carrying a percentage at the back of it, as in example 1, then you know that you are dividing by 100. So in this case, it is going to be 150 over 500 times 100 to get what percentage. So in this case, we can just see that this 20 cancels these 2 zeros at the back of 100. Then you have 150 over 5. So the 150 over 5 is this. So 150 divided by 5 gives us 30%. The next example is 36.84 all over 120 times 100. Now, is what percentage of 120 is 36.84? What percentage of 120 is 36.84? In that case, it just give us 36.84 over 120 times 100, and it gives us 30.7%, just the reverse of what we did initially. So in this case, I have provided two ways of solving this question. I bought a car for $1,500 and sold it for $1,800. What percentage gain did I make? So I bought a car for $1,500. I sold it for $1,800. Sold it for $1,800. So my gain is the same thing as profit. Gain is profit. So it's going to be selling price minus cost price all over cost price times 100. Selling price minus cost price all over 100. So my gain is going to be 1,800 minus 500 all over 500 times 100. So it's going to give us 300 all over 1,500 times 100. Okay, so now these 2 zeros can cancel out themselves. You can also use this one to cancel this 1,500, but I've just decided to use this one to cancel this 300. So it's going to give us 300 divided by 15. 300 divided by 15. So 300 divided by 15 is going to give us 20. You understand? And so the percentage gain is 20%. The percentage gain is 20%. There's another shortcut method. There is another shortcut method to do this. So let me just show you quickly. In this shortcut method, you are just going to say the selling price, which is 1,800 over 1,500, which is the cost price, times 100. It's a very simple and fast method. So that is going to, by the time you do all your division, that one is going to give you 120. And 120 means 20 plus the initial amount. When you hear 100% of something, if I bought a car for $1,500 and I sold it at the same price of $1,500, then this will have just been 100%. 100% of a number is the actual amount of that number. But when you see 120% of a number or over 100% of that number, that means that number is actually bigger than the number we're talking about. So in this case, we can still do it this way and get our answer. Can you see 120 minus 100% of that initial number gives us 20% back. In our last example, this is going to be explained better. So in this example, my boss told me to sell a car and get a profit of 30%. How much will I sell the car if the cost price is $3,000? Now, in the last example we solved, I told you that 100% of a number is that number itself. So 100% is $3,000. 100% is $3,000. So gain is 30%. You want a gain of 30%. All you need to do is just to add 30 to 100. Add 30 to 100. That will give you 130%. So how much you need to sell the car to get a 30% increment or profit is to just add 30 to 100 and get 130%. So by the time you do 130 over 100 times the amount, which is 3,000, you get the amount you're supposed to sell the car, 3,900 directly. I think this is very, very straightforward and simple. Whatever percentage you want to add as gain, just add it to 100. Then do that percentage over 100 times the amount. Then you get your answer. If it was in the case of loss, I think it was told that it was a loss of 30%. This is just going to be a negative. So this plus is going to be changed to a minus. So instead of 130, you're going to have 70. Then by the time you have 70% of 3,000, you are going to know how much was sold and the loss that was made. All right, I can still solve this in another way. I can still solve it like simply getting 30% of 3,000. 30% of the cost price is 900. You understand? This is 30 over 100 times 3,000 gives me 900. I've done my division, so I'll just add the 900 to the initial price, cost price of the car, and I will get 3,900. So you can see the two answers are the same thing. Let us go to the last example for today. What percentage of 50 is 75? In this case, 75 over 50 times 100. 75 over 50 times 100. This just gives us 7,500 divided by 50, and you get 150%. So it's not compulsory that the number above here must be smaller than the one below. You can have a bigger number above over a smaller number beneath. So thank you for watching today's class. I hope you've learned something very, very important and useful for you. If you have any question, please drop your question in your comment section. And if you are yet to subscribe, please just do well to subscribe right now. Thank you for everyone that has subscribed onto this channel and has been following up. I appreciate you. See you in the next video. Bye.